Fat Albert was directed by Joel Swick and it stars Kenan Thompson and Kyla Pratt. And this movie came out December 2004, and this movie is based off of the 1970s cartoon called Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. So in this movie we have a high school teenage girl named Doris, played by Kyla Pratt. She's mostly she's an unfabulous person because she doesn't like going to parties. She doesn't like having fun for once in her life. And she has a supporting sister named Lori, which I forgot the actress's name who plays Lori. Until Doris goes home, when Doris goes home, her parents are not home, and she sits down watches the Fat Albert cartoon, and then until in the cartoon, Fat Albert hears crying, and that is Doris. Until Fat Albert when Fat Albert and the gang gets transported out of the animated world into our world, they want to help Doris. They want to help Doris solve her problem and figure out what the issue is. And now we got our movie. I was actually really interested of seeing this movie. I was really interested because I haven't seen this movie for a very, very long time. Because it's been a while since I've seen Fat Albert. Because mostly what I liked about this, because mostly let me think. Okay, so I actually was looking forward to seeing Fat Albert again. I bought this movie from Amazon, and I actually did rewatch this movie last night, and I said, this movie is not good. But to my opinion, I actually still like this movie, but I do love the cartoon. I love the cartoon, but I also do love the movie. My only issues with the movie, why does it take place into our century? Like, come on. No, this ain't right. I don't understand why y'all got animated characters gets transported out of a television set and ending up inside of our world, because the whole movie does take place in North Philly, probably just like the cartoon, I think. Because we have Fat Albert and the gang right about here. We have so what we have here. I know we have Fat Albert here. We have Dumb Donald. We have Dumb Donald, Mushmouth, Rudy, Weird Harold, or Old Weird Harold, Bucky, and Bill. And also Russell's also in the movie, but Russell's not in the movie much because Russell is in animated form, while the rest of the gang were in animated form, and now they're real life people now. Boom. So now I gotta say, my favorite part of this movie is mostly Kenan Thompson as Fat Albert. And oh my God, Kenan Thompson blew my mind as Fat Albert. He was really good as Fat Albert. He was easily one of the best casting choices as Fat Albert. He does act like Fat Albert in the movie. He's like, hey, hey, hey. And I was like, now that's Fat Albert right there. Kenan Thompson is easily the best part of this movie. And he did an amazing job as Fat Albert. And the rest of the actors who played Fat Albert's gang is also really good in this movie. But I think some of them can be annoying sometimes, like Bucky. Oh my God. In the movie, Bucky's just all like that, which that really gets on my nerves. Actually, no, I take that back. Actually, I find it funny. It actually got me laughing last night. And Dumb Donald, I don't know. I haven't watched the cartoon in a while. I know Dumb Donald can be dumb. But in the movie, we have Kyla. I know Kyla Pratt is also in this movie, but Kyla Pratt's okay. Kyla Pratt. I don't blame Kyla Pratt for being in this movie. I liked her. I did like her in The Proud Family, which she played. Mostly Penny. I believe it was Penny Proud. She played Penny Proud in The Proud Family. I think she was really good in the Proud Family, but in this movie, she was okay. I really didn't understand why. I'm like, no, this ain't right. My only issues with the movie, I feel like Kyla Pratt, I understand Kyla Pratt is the main focus, but she's not really the main focus. Because I feel like this movie has more focus on Fat Albert and the gang, which is a good thing. And the reason why I said it's a good thing is because I feel like Fat Albert and the gang are getting more focus the entire movie, and that is a good thing. And I like how Fat Albert and the gang are getting more focus in this movie because it's about them. Because, it's not really just about them. It's also about Fat Albert solving problems. Because Fat Albert is a problem solver. And I said to myself, and I'm looking at him like, who taught you how to solve problems? Who taught you how to solve problems? Who taught you? I don't know. But I was actually interested of watching this movie once again because the last time I seen this movie, I was a kid that time. I was a little kid that time. I really didn't understand who Fat Albert was because back when I was a kid I didn't really understand who Fat Albert was or what the because I didn't really know what the cartoon would actually was. Because when you're a kid, I mean, as a kid, if you watch this movie as a kid, then you might not understand who Fat Albert is. This is like watching Tom and Jerry, the live action movie that I reviewed mostly last month. Kids are not gonna understand who Tom and Jerry is, but if they watch the cartoon, they'll know who they are. But if kids watch let's say a kid watches the Fat Albert cartoon and say, I think I like the cartoon more than the movie. Yeah, my only issues with the movie, it takes place in our world, the entire movie, and I really didn't understand why it took place because I think the movie does take place in the 2000s mostly, because mostly this movie does take place in the 2000s, and the cartoon takes place in the 1970s, I think in the 1970s. But my only issues with this movie, I really don't understand I want this movie to actually be fixed up a little bit. Like, if this movie was perfect, like say, if this movie was let's say this movie was like based off of 20th Century Fox and Blue Sky Entertainment, something like that, like say Ice Age, for example. If this movie was like, let's say an animated version of CGI animated version of Ice Age, I would have been really impressed. If this movie was CGI animated, I would have been impressed. It would have been better. Or if this movie took place in live action, it would have took place in the 1970s, the entire movie, and everything would have been just right. But now, the film is a fish out of water movie, and I said, why you gotta make this into a fish out of water movie? Like, come on. Like, come on. Like, Bill Cosby. Because Bill Cosby, I meant to say, Bill Cosby did voice Bill, Mushmouth, and Fat Albert himself. And I was like, wait, I thought he voiced all the characters. But he didn't just voice all the characters. He didn't really voice all the characters because we had other actors who voiced all the characters in the cartoon. Because I think my father and my grandmother and my grandfather, they used to love Fat Albert. I think some people in my family used to watch Fat Albert back in the day, probably, mostly, I don't know. Because it's been a while. My only issues with the movie has no villain. The movie has no bad guy. My only issues with the movie has no villain. I understand Fat Albert is a problem solver, but my only issues with the movie has no bad guy. Because we have these guys. We have, so in this movie, also in the film, we have, this guy named Reggie. I don't know who the actor is, but there's a guy named Reggie in this movie, yeah. There's a guy named Reggie, and he has his, friend in this movie. I'm like, yeah, they're not bad guys. But the other guys in the animated cartoon, talking about, we're the Buck champions in the world, something like that. And I'm like, if they were villains, I would have been impressed. If they were bad guys, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, the movie doesn't have no bad guy. The movie has no villain. I was really disappointed. The movie didn't... I mean, I don't know if this movie should have a villain or not, but this movie should have gave enough care to... I mean, this movie has a good message to young kids and adults and teenagers of what the problem is, and they tell you the issue or tell you what the problem is. And Kyla Pratt, she's okay. I don't know. But I'm not going to say much about this movie anyway because even though I love this movie, I still love this movie as an adult. I'm 22 years old watching a movie, but Molly watching a movie that I haven't watched for a long time. But my only issues with the movie, it doesn't feel like a kid's movie. It feels like a movie for teenagers. Because Fat Albert, this movie, I understand this movie's for kids, but this movie feels like a movie for teenagers. It feels like a teenager's kids movie. It does feel like a content made for teenagers. Like, because the movie has a message to teenagers and young kids of what problems they've been going through. And I said, well, no, this movie should have been appealed to young children. That's what I wanted this movie to do, is appeal to a little bit to the kids. You know what I mean? Just saying. So it doesn't really matter. I think the director could have done better. I think 20th Century Fox could have done better at making things right with this movie. Like have the whole movie take place in the 1970s, either live action or CGI animated. I don't know. I mean, that's all I gotta say. I mean, that's all I gotta say for this. But everything else in this movie, it's not that good. But I gotta say, like I said, Kenan Thompson's really good in the movie as Fat Albert. It's great to see what Kenan Thompson actually does. And Kenan Thompson was also really good in one of my favorite movies, and that is Good Burger. Boom. And that's all. I think that's about it for this movie review for Fat Albert. And that's all I gotta say for this movie review for Fat Albert. And that's about it. Nothing much to say, and that's about it. So be sure to like, subscribe, press notification button, follow me on Instagram, comment down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching.